All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's debate where two teams oppose each other. Pro team, composed by the IISS Canudo, and the opposition team of the IISS Ignazio Flacco. Today's topic is This House supports the school strike for climate change. And this said, I will introduce myself, Daniele Giove, as judge, and the other judge, Professoressa Giorgio. Now, this said, we have already introduced the two teams. The first speaker pro is Mancino Sara. The first speaker contro is Gabriele Amenta. The second speaker for the pro team is Ilenia Don Giovanni. The second speaker for the opposition team is Francesco Placido. While the third speaker for the proposition team is Simona Brizio. And the third speaker for the opposition team is Giulia Tamburano. Without further ado, I will give the word to the first speaker of the proposition team. Good luck.
Good morning. Are you listening to me? Good morning.
Hold on. Do you prefer that I take the time, or are you taking the time yourself?
I'm taking time by myself.
Okay. You can begin.
Good morning. I'm Mancina Sara, speaker one of the pro team. Today, I'd like to talk about the fact that us students, as ourselves, have the right to do school strikes because we are sure that these are essential for our future. But to begin, I need to mention that we are debating about the motion this House supports the school strike for climate, and also with the definition of the words. We have focused on the word climate, that is the weather condition that, if compromised, can cause catastrophic events. And then we also focused on the school strike, which is a movement that leads by students to guarantee their rights. Now I am going to illustrate my team line, where me as speaker one, I will talk about as students retains that school strikes are essential for our future. Then my friend Ilania, as speaker two, will talk about that the students are the next generation, so they have to fight for their ideas. And in the end, my friend Simona, as speaker three, we'll talk about the huge importance to reduce and to delete step by step the climate diseases. So now I begin to illustrate my thesis. So today I'd like to talk about the fact that as students, as ourselves, have the right to do school strikes because we are sure that these are essential for our future. We think that to strike is one of the best ways to be listened. In fact, we focused our attention in particular on the strike in the school, which is a place where the future citizens will be educated, also to defend their planet from one of the main...
Point.
Yes, thank you.
Don't you think that... mi sentite? Okay. Don't you think that the students are too unaware and immature to sustain such a serious matter such as the climate problem? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. And I answer you that we intend the students which are already in high school, so have a mature way to resonate and also to bring their ideas ahead. So now I continue to say that, especially in this period of time characterized by the virus COVID-19, adults can't miss at work, so they are not able to do strike. In this way, students can go ahead with this fight being the only social useful category. Me and our team retain, however, that to do school strike is a way to improve the life skill, also to face up a situation in which is useful and is a necessity to react with a powerful and immediately action. So what I'm saying to you, I'm saying that students need to do school strikes also because our home, the planet, need it. In fact, my friends Eleni and Simona will show you how the school strike had been useful recently, but also in the past. So they will bring also examples like Greta Thunberg, the G7, and also history examples, such as the one of the Second World War. I hand my intervent, my speech, saying that I invite you think about one question. According to you, is possible to resolve this problem in a second moment? Thank you all to listening, and I pass the word to the next speaker.
Questo intervento è durato 5 minuti e 9 secondi.
Ok, ci sono. Okay, so the first speaker of the opposition side of this debate can start his speech.
Okay, good morning to everyone. I'm Gabriele Menta, first speaker of the opposition team, and my team will show you why we don't support the school strike for climate, presenting you two argumentations. The first argumentations that I will present you is that the students are clearly immature and unaware to support such a serious matter as the climate matter, the climate problem. And the second argumentation that my second speaker, Francesco Placido, will present you is that the students could devalue the strike and distort the meaning of the school strike because of their lack of preparation, maturity, and critical sense. So now I will present you my first argumentation. The immaturity and the unawareness of the young students that take part of to the school strike. Sorry, so now I will talk about the immaturity and the unawareness of the young students that take part to the school strike. In fact, lots of them don't know why they are striking. They only want to skip a day at school, and lots of them don't know how important is the striking right, which is fundamental for the democracy. In fact, lots of people in the past have been killed for, and they fight for the holy right of striking, which is very important and fundamental for the democracy. For example, I can say that because on the internet there are lots of examples of students that don't know why they are striking for. For example, 2 weeks ago, there were the school strike climate which is known like Friday for Future, and during these strike, there were an interview done by FanPage, where a reporter during the Friday for Future strike asked to a group of teens why they were striking, and lots of them said that they were striking only to skip a day at school, and they didn't know anything about the climate problem and the importance of the climate problem. And this is a really big problem for our society, because when the teens strike, but they don't know the reason why they're striking for. They are and they only want to strike because they want to skip a day at school, because we have to remember that we are talking about teens, young people that are immature and unaware of the big problem of life, as the climate change is one of them. And there are also another dangerous problem, because lots of unaware young students can be manipulated by the adults to take part in strike of which they don't even know the causes. So they can be the instruments of adults and influent people who only want them to strike, but teens, they don't even know the causes they are striking for, and this is very dangerous for our society. For this reason, my team believe that students should be supervised by adults and knowledgeable people. This is the only way that the adults can teach to the teens how to what is the climate change, and what is the problem of climate change, and they can teach them how important is the striking right. Only in this way the teens can be able to strike in a proper way. And so we have placed the topic on a valuable and social point of view, which is, and my team thinks that this is fundamental, because we're talking about young people and teens that and they are not ready for these kind of things. So on behalf of that point I've just made, and the point that my teammate Francesco is about to explain, we strongly disagree with today's motion. Thank you for listening.
Questo intervento è durato 5 minuti e 36 secondi.
Okay, I'm done. So I give the word to the second speaker of the proposition side of this debate. Good luck.
Thanks. Good morning at all. I'm Elena Don Giovanni, the second speaker of the pro team. First of all, I'd just like to iterate today's topic. That is, this house supports the school strike for climate. First of all, I'd like to reply our position in front of this topic, because we firmly believe that students should strike for climate change because of lots of reasons that I will make explicit shortly. I'd like also to confute some points that the first speaker of the opposing team just touched. He said that lots of students don't understand why they are striking, and they strike only to skip a day of school. But my friend Sarah just said that we are talking about students of the high school, so students from 14, yes. The we don't listen you. Okay, I go on. These students, yes, we don't listen you. Tell me. I was seeing that I was saying, yes, that students are able to understand what they are doing, because we know that students are the fundamental part of the society, and that they have to fight their war to reach a goal. In fact, my thesis is already this. Students have to fight against something that they find not correct, in order to reach a goal, an important goal, such as the fight against climate changing. We can talk, for example, the Fridays for Future, and a set of students that are led by Greta Thunberg, a Sweden young girl that strike against the climate changing alone in front of the Parliament of Sweden. This action make us other students more interested in the problems of climate changing, and in particular, yes, tell me.
Do you think that Greta Thunberg is a mature guide compared to an adult individual? Thank you.
I think that we have to understand that the world that we live today, the world in which we live today, is because of adults, and we students have to strike, have to make the adults understand that the problems that now are like this because of their lack of attention. And in fact, an example of this is the President Trump, the premier, President Trump, who decided to interrupt the assembly of against the climate action, because he didn't believe in this. This demonstrates that the adults are destroying our world, and that students have to be listened by authorities. And the only way to be listened is to strike, to make us at in the situation to become the most important part of the society. And also, I have to say that as regards the Europe, the 2022 will be the year of the young people. Why this? Obviously, because young people, as students, are the most important part of the society. We have, as persons, as people, to become the middle class. In the future, we will be the most important part of the society. We are the adults of the future. And if we don't strike, who will strike? Who has to fight against these problems? Only us. We are people able to understand what is better for us. Remember this. I finished my speech saying that we are the most important part of society, and that because of this, and in order to reach our goals, we have to strike. And also that school is a place that has to be a place, yes, to educate us in order to make us able to understand what is better for us. Thanks a lot for the attention, and I left the word to the next speaker.
Questo intervento è durato 6 minuti e 23 secondi.
Okay, I'm done. Okay, so I'm giving the word back to the second speaker of the opposition side of this debate. Good luck.
Posso? Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Francesco Placio, the second speaker of the Con squad. I will divide my speech into two parts to be much more clear. In the first part, I will refute what has been said by the first and second speaker of the Pro Squad in the so-called points of refutation. In the second part, I will explain my argumentation better in order to explain our position in a better way to help you understand that our position is the best position. The first points of refutation. Both the first speaker of the Pro Squad and the second speaker of the Pro Squad said that the students are the most important social category of our society and that are the adults of the future, and that the right to strike is very important. But I want to specify something. In the first point of refutation, I say that we don't think that the strikes are not important, but that the students are too unaware and immature to sustain such serious topics. If the students do not understand the meaning of this social event, of this strike, what is the sense of the strike itself? It's a nonsense. The second point of refutation. Both the first and the second speaker of the Pro Squad said that the students considered by them are teens from the high school, so students from the high school. So they sustain that they got the decent and proper maturity to strike, the decent preparation and experience. But I was asking a point to the second speaker of the Pro Squad, in which I could have specified that my teammate, Gabriela Menta, said that 6 students out of 10 students interviewed by the fan page at Journal, students from the high school, say that taking part in a strike is a way to put off some oral and written tests. So this is an evidence that refutes what has been said by the first and second speaker of the Pro Squad, because students from high school that tell these things to the fan page, to the Journal fan page, is an ideal example of what we are trying to say from the first intervent. So the third point of refutation. The second speaker of the Pro Squad said that the strike is a sacred right, an important right. Yes, I want to specify another time that we don't think that the strikes are not important, but that the students are too unaware to sustain such serious matters. For the fourth point of refutation, the second speaker of both the first speaker and the second speaker of the Pro Squad said that the adults and the mature individuals can take part in this strike with students because there is a lack of attention. Now, I want to say that there are some environmental associations made of adults that could participate in this social events, in these strikes, flanking the students. So the adults, there are some adults that could help them. And Greta Thunberg is not as such a mature guide to lead this strikes, this thing. So now that I refuted what has been said by the first and second speaker of the Pro Squad, I want to. I refuse. So now that I would like to proceed with the exposition of our second argumentation, according to which, being the students too unaware and immature to support such serious matter, they could devalue the strike and distort the meaning of it, as they strike without knowledge of causes. It's undeniable that nowadays students are demonstrating the willingness to actively take part in the political, economic, and social life of our world, being the first to complain if something goes wrong with our ordinary life. Therefore, thanks to this active and not passive participation of the students to the most important events of our social life, such as the school strike, the students' maturity and consciousness of the modern environmental issues could grow up and the students' awareness could raise. Nevertheless, as the first speaker of our squad asserted, the students are too immature to sustain such a serious matter, such as the environmental one. Their critical sense is insufficient, and moreover, there is no mature individual to lead the school strike, to allow a civil and a polite performance of the strike itself. So, if there is no mature individual and students themselves are unconscious of what they are doing, what sense there is in a strike? To endorse our thesis, there is a crucial evidence that show you how immature as the students. As a matter of fact, it has been proved by some interviews made by the Italian journal La Repubblica that 8 students out of 10 only strike to put off some oral and written tests. So a question should be asked. If the students stroke without any awareness and with all their naivety, wouldn't the sense of the strike be devaluated or its meaning distorted? Well, the answer is very simple and even it's affirmative. Being the students unaware of what they are doing, the strike won't have absolutely have any sense. The right to strike is an alienable right, almost a holy and sacred right that would not have any value in students' hands. In the past centuries, the people that stroke for the streets and squares of the cities had precise purposes and goals to achieve and sustained important ideals to face a social, economic, and a surely climate context unfavorable to them in order to establish a general well-being in their society. Differently from what now is happening, today's strikes are ridiculous compared to the past strikes, where the students are rampant in the streets praising a climate prevention that they don't know if it will come, but they are naive and strike loses its sense. In Italy, in the 1968, the students got hurt seriously or even died to claim their rights and purposes, being the modern strike uncomparable to the nowadays strikes. Is this to the past strikes? Is this the education that we want to give to our students, letting them rampage in the street without any knowledge of causes? Are these the ideals that in which we believe in the society of the 21st century, a pioneering society that should offer to our futures citizens capable of understanding serious problem? I leave the answer to the Pro Squad. In addition, the strike could lose their sense because being the students naive and unaware, the strike itself could be a source of speculation. The individual that exploits student unconsciousness receive economic incomes, becoming the strike a lucrative event and not something more. Not by chance, recently a new report has revealed that a strike happened in Chicago for the Friday for Future event had been arranged only for lucrative reasons to sponsor Greta Thunberg's books. So for this, we sustain that the social events of the strike are not important and today's strikes are devaluated compared to the past strikes because of the students' unawareness. Thank you. I finished my speech.
Questo intervento è durato 8 minuti e 4 secondi.
Okay, I'm done here. Okay, and now let's give the word back to the proposition side and with their third speaker. Good luck.
Thank you. Good morning, I'm Simona Brizio, the third speaker of the Pro team. Today, in this speech, we have talked a lot about main points. I want to sum up some of our ideas and some computation that the opposite team have done. The opposite team line, was about one big point, that is the immaturities of students. So I want to clarify one thing. We have talked we are talking about students who have 50 years old to 80 years old, who have ideas and critical opinions. So we can say that teens are immature and don't and didn't and they can fight for their ideas. So after this small consultation, I want to go on. And secondly, I want to say some things about one thing that the mate, I think Francesco, said before. He said that Greta Thunberg events and Greta Thunberg organization have the holy point to sponsor his figure and his person. This is absolutely wrong. In fact, thanks to Greta Thunberg and their Friday for Future events, we have done a lot of better things for our future. I want to and I want to underline these things with some example. In fact, in recent time, especially in October, thanks to this Friday for Future strike, we have in Italy the G7 and in Glasgow the COP26. These two assemblies were so fundamental for our story, for our history, because thanks to us, we have a lot of changement. But the changements aren't a lot to reduce and delay to definitively the climate changes. So we have to strike and strike, because only with the strike is the only way to be listened. Another thing that I want to say is that the opposite team have say that students go to this strike only to skip school. But I want to do a question. This is your opinion or is based on a survey? Because I don't think that all students or a little part of students can be interested or on their future. Because the school strikes for climate change are essential for our future and for the future for the next generation. So I don't think that a normal human person didn't be so interested on their own and their future. I don't know if you catch my point of view. Other things that I want to say is that, moreover, I and my team firmly believe that strike are the best way to be listened. This is a focused phrase that we must have clear in our mind, because with strike, students, so people who have 50 to 80 and older years old, have the possibility to change the opinion.
Point.
Yes.
What do you think about the evidence that Gabriele brought to us about the interview made by Fanpage and Repubblica?
Yes. So I think that these surveys aren't so clear, because we can say one special thing. We can say one thing. Yes, strike can be a way to skip school if you can, if you want to define there like that. But it's true that strikes, the final point of strike is skip the school. With skipping the school, you can give event. You can produce an event to start to reflect people, to start to reflecting people to their homes. In fact, to skipping school, yes, the final point of strike isn't skipping school, because I say that the final strike of school is of strike is be listened. But you have to be listened skipping school, because it's the only way that we students um, have to can do. Other things that now I want to say some things about greater promotion, about another 2 points. In fact, in the I want to say some things, moreover, about the G7 of Italy and the COP26 of of Glasgow in England. These two assembly, I say before, aren't so efficient about the climate change, because I think that they don't have the right fundament and the right basement uh, try to change the future. So for this, I want to focus. I want that you can focus on one particular question. So strikes. We need to do strikes a lot to be listened, because we have to have a good future. Do you agree with this affirmation or not? Because I think that the future for everybody is essential. So we can't ignore that climate changes are a problem. We must say that climate changes are a disease that we can stop and we can ignore. So we must do something. Do you agree with me? Thank you all. Thank you to listen me, and good morning.
Questo discorso è durato 6 minuti e 50 secondi.
Okay. I think we can now give the word back to the opposition side of this debate, and I welcome the third speaker of the opposition side to speak up. Good luck.
Thanks. Greetings to the judges and the audience. I'm Giulia Tamburrano, the third speaker of the team against this morning motion. This House supports the school strike for climate. My team, with all the arguments previously set out, is firmly opposed to what our opponents have said today, and of course, strongly disagrees with this late morning's topic. The problem raised by the motion is undoubtedly of a strictly current nature, and it concerns a very serious matter such as the environment and the climate on our planet. Surely, as everyone will be able to assert and agree with, the time to act on has come, although the time to act is indeed every time and everywhere, in order to safeguard our planet. And some might even assert that every end justifies the means. In fact, we have been told that in order to make a difference, a strike by the students would be ideal, and we actually couldn't agree less with this opinion. But let me first explain something. Today's point is, are school strikes a good way to help climate? Or better, are they the best way to make a difference? Actually, there may be only two answers to such a question. 2 points of view from which the topic no, one of a certainly rational, ethical, and purely logical nature, which considers the value of the most important stakeholders of today's topic. No thanks, the student, who belongs to every school grade and of all ages. This point of view, which is clearly the one we are today sustaining, does not agree with the motion by any means, and wouldn't consider school striking as an efficient way to support the climate issue, on behalf of the two main points my team exposed earlier. A student, which can be considered as a minor, isn't really capable of acknowledging such a serious matter, especially if his age is around 10 or 11 years old. A strike in which a student stays at home and doesn't even try to manifest on the streets, which could be due to age matters or simply laziness matters, is not a valuable strike. Instead, the other point of view is certainly of a moralistic nature, certainly disguised as a do-gooder concept that, however, hides under its virtuous appearances a clear misunderstanding of the figure of the student himself. This view clearly overestimates a student's role and the value of a school strike. However, it is totally blind to the concrete issues that such a strike could lead to. My team obviously supported the position against the topic. In fact, my role will be the one of refuting step by step all of the points that, to our eyes, seemed critical about the team line of today's government team. And later, since my speech will be divided in two main parts, I will summarize the focal points of our team line. First of all, I start from the speech of the first speaker of the Proscod, which introduced the oration by telling us that striking is essential to avoid the jeopardy in which our planet is seemingly going to fall, climatically speaking. We do agree with the fact that now is the moment to act on. However, there are many ways to avoid a strike, which are completely and ideologically far from a school strike, of course. Now I'd like to answer to the rhetorical, we believe, question that the first orator of the Pro Squad made everybody. According to us, is it possible to resolve this situation in a second moment? Well, of course not. We have to act immediately, and that's a fact. But there are ways and ways to act on, and one of these, by all means, is not a school strike. What good would a school strike, which is no thanks, which is briefly skipping a day of school due to the environment? None, of course. Skipping school is unnecessary, as helping the climate and making a difference can be made on social media, as an example, or simply in the afternoon, if you want to make a mocking point without skipping morning lessons. Moving on to the second speaker of our opponent's team, all we can say is that, once again, the motion isn't about teenagers at all, or better, it includes every school student of every grade. Climate involves both young students and older students, we'd like to recall. Surely young people are the future of our world, and adults have contributed to ruin our planet, but it will be not skipping a day of school, masked and epitomized as Friday for Future, to change the fate of our future, let alone blame adults. The students showed that the students certainly has the right to manifest, but if he has neither maturity nor critical sense, as many teenagers today show they do not have as a comeback to the pro team, the student will never understand the reasons for the strike itself, and the latter will lose its value. Now, having said that, I would like to underline once again the team line of my squad, which we firmly have supported during this debate, in order to set in your minds what our schemes have been like so far. First, this house does not support the school strike. First and foremost, if it is for climate reasons, because students are clearly too unaware and immature to support such a serious matter. The example my teammate exposed couldn't be more crucial, especially because it's a very down-to-earth evidence which laid in front of our eyes through YouTube recommendations for days. Fanpage's interviews were nothing less than as scandalous as hearing real students saying that they didn't know what they were striking for and were just there to skip a day of school totally proves our point. Second, strikes, if led by such a young and inexpert people, such as students from schools, especially if they are not even supervised by adults or mature and knowledgeable people, totally lose their sense and their value. We all know, in fact, how many kids and teenagers, as of course we share the same age, prefer to skip a day of school, with the excuse of doing a strike, not so much to support the causes of the strike itself, but rather to get a day off, which can be spent at most in bars with friends, at home, or simply wandering outside the school building. Now, judges and audience, as my speech has drawn to a close end, my teammates and I can reaffirm the completeness of our position, consequentially dismantling the government scheme. For all the reasons which by now we avoid repeating, we can confirm that this House agrees that today's motion must fall. Thank you for your attention. I have concluded.
Questo intervento è durato 7 minuti e 12 secondi.
Okay, so I declare the constructive phase of this debate to be over and are now on to the reply speeches. Let's begin with the opposition side reply speech.
Ok, mi sentite? Ok. So, before going on with my harangue, I will repeat our efficient argumentative trail that we firmly sustained during the course of this debate. First, this House does not support the strike because the students are too unaware and immature to sustain such a serious topic. And second, this House does not support the topic as being the students too unaware and immature to support such serious matter, they could devalue the strike and distort the meaning of it, as they strike without any knowledge of causes. So, we pointed out 3 points of clash that have been debated during the course of this debate. The first point of clash was about the fact that the students are the most important category to strike in a social and environmental context that, according to them, is insufficient to sustain such a serious topic. And for this, they want to rampage into the streets to praise environmental prevention and sustain climate change as their favorite mother, Greta Thunberg. About this point, the Pro Squad sustained that the students aged 16 years old and 18 to 18 years old are the perfect social category to strike, being them the voices of our future and representatives of the next generations. So they are the perfect individuals to fight against a social context that's unfavorable to them and all the people that live in a specific context. Whereas, about this point, our squad sustained that the students, even aged 16 years old to 18 years old, are too immature to sustain such a serious matter, as they definitely do not have the experience, the preparation, and the critical sense to do it, being the strike an event that could lose its sense and being devaluated compared to the past years. And we also brought an evidence from our first speaker that showed to you that even the high school students are too immature to do it. Well, for these reasons, we won this point of clash, demonstrating that our thesis is more valid than the pro one. The second point of clash was about the importance itself of the strike. The strike is very, very important. About this point, the Pro Squad sustained that the strike is the best way to show to the context in which we live, specifically for the students of high school, our feelings and our necessity to show to them that we are unfavorable in a context such as such as the modern one. And for this, the students are the best social category to give importance to a social event, a strike. But whereas our squad, about this point, sustained that we don't believe that the social event, the strike, is not important, but that the students are not that mature or aware to sustain such an important topic, such an important issue, the environmental issue, and so the strike itself could lose its sense. So For this, we sustain we won this point, demonstrating that our thesis is more valid than the pro one. About the third point of clash, the third point of clash has been about the presence or the absence of adult and mature figures and individuals. About this point, the pro squad sustained that there is a lack of attention because the adults are busy in other things to do, whereas our squad sustained that sometimes there are associations that are mature that could help the strikes, and for this the adults are present in some strikes. For this, for all the reasons and the points of clash that our squad pointed out, we sustain that we won this debate, destroying, breaking down the entire castle of argumentations that Pro Squad brought out. Thank you. I conclude my speech.
Questo intervento è durato 4 minuti e 27 secondi.
Okay, and now I ask the reply speech from the proposition side to conclude this debate. Let's go.
Yes, do you listen me? Yes. Good morning again. I am Ilenia, the second speaker of the pro team. First of all, I'd like to iterate the team line that me and my team follow. We believe that students might strike because of climate changing. In a second moment, I'd like to say what were the points of clash of this debate. First of all, we were talking about the strike, the importance of strike, but me and my team demonstrates that strike is the only way to make the authorities more careful about our problems, about the problems that our societies, our generation live today and will live in the future. The second point of clash was the one of the immaturity of the students between 14 and 18 and older years old because of their inability to understand what are the real problems for which they are striking. We have to understand that it is not true that if we are minors, we aren't able to understand the problems and aren't able to understand what is better for us, for our future. On the contrary, we are absolutely able to fight in order to defend our ideas and our goals. The third point of clash was the one of the figure of Greta Thunberg that was seen like a fictitious figure because of her events are created in order to make speculative things. But we know that through the figure of Greta Thunberg, the students of all the world make them wake them up in order to fight all together against a problem that affects the lives of all of us. And I think we all agree that the climate change is a problem that affects all of us. In fact, with the strike, we would like to give a signal, making the authorities more careful about the problem that's affecting climate changing. And in fact, we know that the adults are guilty because of the world that is now, like this, the world that we live today, the problems that we live today, are like this because of them. And we, with our strike, have the right and also the power to fight for our ideas. Thanks a lot for the attention, and my speech is ended.
Questo intervento è durato 3 minuti e 30 secondi.